Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please drop that like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. So tomorrow there will be a live stream. I'll be going live. If you guys haven't seen it, please turn on your notifications so you know when I go live. I will be addressing some of the things that have been going on and some of my market expectations as well, and any other questions that you guys may have. So I hope you guys can come prepared with some good questions for me, and hopefully we can have a dialogue and discuss a few of the ongoing matters. On a positive note, Spain won the Euro Cup. At least positive for me. I was rooting for them. So sorry for the English fans, but you guys, I've been always saying Portugal and Spain were my favorite teams. So I've always been consistent despite of any of the results. And I always root for them in any competition, even if they get eliminated very soon or very early in the competition, doesn't matter. Now, I think I'm going to start with the market part, and I will leave, obviously, the political part at the end. Unless you live underneath a rock, everybody's aware of what has happened. Now, a little bit intertwined with that, you guys know, and I've been saying this for a long time, back in February and March, when people were talking about Bitcoin 100K and Bitcoin left translated cycle and Bitcoin going to the moon. If you've been following this channel, I said we're gonna have a correction after the Bitcoin halving, and we should go somewhere between 47 and 52,000. Now we went one time to 53.5 and one time in certain exchanges to 52.9. This was in the middle of all the people expecting, that we're going to go to 100K. Then last week, I made video upon video talking about, and the last basically 10 days, talking about bottom signals. Germany was out. The ETFs were buying aggressively. Mt. Gox coins were already being distributed. But most importantly, a lot of mainstream media, as well as crypto media, started with articles about how the bull market was over, about how the cycle was finished. A lot of the major channels like Discover Crypto and like Crypto Banter and all these idiots were predicting Bitcoin 40K and stuff like that. And I said, well, when you guys ask me, what are the bottom signals? How can I see them? You saw them last week, and now you're seeing what's happening right now. Now, obviously, some of this pump is linked to what happened over the weekend, but the point being, now the stories change in the sense that, okay, this time was what happened over the weekend, last cycle was something else, the other cycle was something else, but some way or another, here we are with the same signals and going up exactly when we should be going up, and basically everybody got left behind once again, and all these shorts, because there was record leverage shorts, by the way, between 60 and 65,000, what did I say? They had to be liquidated. Bitcoin currently stands at 64,000, so we are in the process of liquidating such shorts. I said, in order to go up, you need to let people put in the short position so they can get liquidated and transfer their money to you, the holder. Haven't I said this step by step, all over again? Now, I told you, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to be the catalyst to go up again. That part I don't know. What I know is once we get to that very close period, 3 months after the halving, you're going to start seeing crypto going back up. And here we are again. Meme coins are recovering very well as utility coins. And we are now going to enter the funnier part of the bull market, which is basically, it's not the euphoria phase. That part comes later. That part comes when you have the opposite signals. You have people talking about how crypto will never have a bear market again, and Bitcoin will replace the dollar tomorrow, and this kind of stuff. That happens later. But now we should start resuming the upward movement and having more green days than red. But you're still going to have red days. This is the part that people don't get about the bull market. That doesn't mean that we never have a red day again. Once again, that part comes later. in the euphoria phase, where you literally don't have a red day and you're going to be pressed to find something that doesn't go up. But we are way far away from that time period. And I think we're also moving a little bit too quick to the upside, potentially because what happened over the weekend was so traumatic and so different. But in any case, it was due to go up, and the market was looking for an excuse, and then we got it. Now, there's something pernicious about the crypto market that you need to understand. You see, all these channels, as well as all these media companies, start reporting bad news after bad news after bad news after bad news on crypto, and they're all the same at the same time. And curious enough, the big institutions are all buying at the same time. You see, if you don't believe in coincidence, if you believe in coincidences, that's up to you. But this has happened before. During the bear market, it was bad news about Bitcoin, about crypto. Crypto was a scam, was finished, blah, blah, blah. And then we found out that BlackRock was buying very aggressively during that time period. Once again, bad news after bad news after bad news after predictions of 40K Bitcoin, etc. And the institutions are buying aggressively in the meantime. Will we see that those major sell-offs in Ethereum once the ETFs go live? Why do I have a feeling, call it a sixth sense kind of thing, that we're going to find out that when Ethereum was going down with bad news about Ethereum after bad news about Ethereum, why do I get the feeling that these institutions are going to be shown to be accumulating like crazy during the sell-off periods of Ethereum? Why do I get this feeling? Once again, you don't need to be a Nostradamus. You don't need to be, and you just need to understand the markets. You need to understand what they're doing, and you need to understand what kind of industry we are. Everything is kind of controlled. There's always an agenda. There's always a reason behind it. And then you have cycles. And the crypto cycle is the most pure because it has the less institutional percentage control. It is the most dominated by liquidity and retail, which means you see these feelings in real time, extremely obvious. Crypto market is probably the easiest to predict. The problem is it's extremely hard to deal with the volatility. You see, most of the altcoins went down 75%. Can you deal with a 75% drop? Most people can't. Most people sell when they shouldn't and they buy when they shouldn't. Because one thing is to be aware of the cycles, the other thing is to live them. A little bit when you're reading history. When you read history, you say, oh, there was a big battle where this happened and that happened, and you're reading it, right? One thing is to read it, one thing is to be in the battlefield, and they're actually seeing people falling next to you. So, once again, this is why I've been saying, I know that this may be boring. I know that you guys want to know the next 100x coins tomorrow, gonna go to the moon, this kind of stuff. However, the reality is keep it simple, think 2025, and ignore the noise. Now, obviously, if something else had happened on Saturday, the world would be very different because I'm really truly convinced that it could have sparked a civil war within the US. Now, we all know what happened on Saturday, unless you've been living underneath a rock. But you see, I need to be careful here because most likely this video is going to get shadow banned, or myself going to be outright banned or worse. But I think I should mention a few things which are very relevant. If you believe that it was all an accident and bad security, then you're saying that a 20-year-old kid with a ladder outsmarted the Secret Services. That's the conclusion, if you believe that. Now, the problem nowadays, why these things are not so easy to do like they were before, see, when Kennedy was, everybody knows what happened to him. There were no video cameras. There were no smartphones. All of a sudden, it was curious that he was against certain organizations within the country, and all of a sudden, he ends up where he ended up. Now, Saturday, There are videos now online. If you go to to Tim Pool on Twitter or on X, and you see there's a video of 2 minutes where people are shouting and pointing, and you can see it in the video. The perpetrator of the attack, he's being shouted out by people. People are watching it. People all over the place are saying, "There's a guy there. There's a guy with cannot say the word. There's a guy with a toy that can do a lot of harm to people. He's there. He's there. Officer, he's there. Look at him. He's there. He's there." The point is, these lost 2 minutes. Now you can say, "Oh, but they didn't have time to react, like to take him out, right?" And in 2 minutes, they didn't have time to pull Trump out of the stands. You just need to pull him out of there until they deal with the threat. It's very basic. Everybody could see him. There are multiple videos of him there, everywhere. People shouting at security officers. Obviously, you will not be able to watch that on CNN and MSNBC, because CNN, 10 minutes after the attack, wrote Trump was being rushed out by the Secret Services because he fell in the rally, trying to give you the impression that he fell because he was old or something. And then it migrated into, there were some shots fired, but Trump is safe. Like somebody was just shooting into the air or something happened, who knows. Now, there was a very big tragedy, which was a person lost his life protecting their daughter and wife. If you've been following this channel, this was something that I wanted to believe could not happen, but I've mentioned that the only way that Trump would not win these elections would be if they put him in jail or worse. Obviously, I didn't want to specify what worse was, but everybody got it. The watch here. Because the issue that I was seeing is that, okay, they tried canceling him, didn't work. They tried impeaching, didn't work. They tried depleting his savings, didn't work. They tried imprisoning him, didn't work. Well, there's one option left. Now, I'm not making formal accusations of anything because obviously I cannot prove anything, and I'm just raising questions. I think you can ask questions, right? How can a 20-year-old completely outsmart everybody? That's a fair question. And why are people shouting for 2 minutes that there's a guy there and the president is not taken out of the stage? That's also a fair question. And unless I see a very good replies to these questions, then I'm allowed to think whatever I want to think. And he moved his head at literally the last second. And there are people saying, by the way, this one my favorite, that, it was all staged, despite having a picture of actually the bullet traveling in the air. Yeah, sure, he was staging a 1/4 of an inch bullet shot while he was moving. Yeah, sure. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't stage? Who doesn't stage? But unfortunately, this is the world we live in. And I think he's going to win. That part is 100% certain. If, and this is a big if, he stays alive. If I were him, I would spend hundreds of millions of dollars getting the best private security I could get. And I would even consider, at least in the larger crowds, in the larger, with 50 buildings around him, etc., I would consider making my speech inside the dome, a bulletproof dome. And I have to say that the guy, you may not like him, I don't care about him, to be honest. I don't, in the sense that I'm not I'm not part of the cult. I have a vested interest in crypto. I think it will be better for crypto and better for, to be honest, international security than what we have currently. That's it. That's my vested interest. I'm not an American. I'm not an American citizen. I don't live in America. This doesn't impact me on my day-to-day life. But I do believe that it's fair to say that with him ahead of the helm, crypto, which is where most of my money is, will be protected, as well as international security, I think, will be enhanced. And I always love it when say, but it's a threat to democracy. Oh yeah, because trying to imprison your political opponents, and potentially worse than that, that part is fine, right? Apparently that part is fine. But saying things like we need rules is a big thing. I mean, anybody can take their own conclusions. Now, if he survives, I think he's going to win. Now, I've said this, I've also said something else before, and I want to reiterate again. If there's a counter accident to Biden, and all of a sudden something happens to him, and we have a new candidate on the Democratic Party, and the blame will be to a MAGA supporter, that wouldn't surprise me. Because that's the only way that I see for the Democrats to have any chance, is that there's something happens to Biden, I don't know what, something happens to him, and somebody takes the blame for it, and all of a sudden, there's a new candidate. Will that happen? I don't know. But unfortunately, what I was fearing, particularly when they got partial immunity, when Trump got immunity, I was thinking, there's only one way now that he's not going to win. But I wanted to believe that we were not in the 60s and the 80s anymore. I was wrong. I don't know what it stands for, why it scares so many people. But there's something really evil. And because I refuse to believe that, I mean, in my view, I don't see, I mean, you guys let me know what you think. I cannot conceive how a 20-year-old with a ladder can outsmart the supposedly best security intelligence on the planet. And why nobody does anything, despite people shouting and pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Now, obviously, the best way, and what's going to happen is, any person like me who raises a fair question is going to be called a conspiracy theorist, or a far-right crazy guy, whatever. Curious that the last time people were called conspiracy theorists were when they were raising questions about Biden's mental health. Remember? Everybody was a conspiracy theorist. And now everybody said, oh yeah, he actually has mental problems. So all the conspiracy theorists were actually correct? So you were lying. Why aren't you lying right now? Let's hope that this was one of the most fortunate events, not for the person that unfortunately lost his life, the man that lost his life protecting his children and his wife, but in terms of not having a civil war stemming out of this, let's hope that this was an isolated incident and that we can actually get to November and beyond without any more of this craziness. Obviously, I mean, and it's a bit sad to talk about it, from a market's perspective, yes, if that thing would go through, and if it goes through into the future, then obviously it's going to be a big black swan event. I think that, I'm not telling anybody any shocking news. And with that, guys, I hope to see you tomorrow in the live stream. Thank you very much for your support, and I'll catch you in the next one.